Hey guys, Compulsion84 here. Today I'm going to share with you my experience I had at PAX East with VR. It was the first time I tried it out. I was really skeptical for a whole bunch of reasons. So all the big companies had VR demos, but there was multi-hour waits for some of them. But a school, Southern New Hampton University, had set up a little tech demo, and they'd gotten an HTC Vive, and maybe in a 10 or 20 minute wait, you got to try out the HTC Vive with this little tech demo. This wasn't some big budget game, but you gotta try out VR and just kind of experience it. And even with this, and you'll see on screen, I'm gonna kind of splice in the footage. I apologize, it's just from a cell phone, but it's what I had. But it's amazing. And this is just with a simple, very crude polygon demo, as you can see here. The situation is they put you in a small room. You could only be sitting because they only had a small booth. But what you did is you could just kind of use one of the handles to move stuff around. So it was start off, I got the headset situated. I've got really heavy astigmatism and a lazy eye, so I didn't even know if this was going to work properly. There's weird kind of like concentric rings that sort of distort your vision and make it work, but it actually worked for me. I didn't move around, so I don't know if it'll make me motion sick or not, because that's something else I'm blessed with. But yeah, I did get to try this out, and it was really cool. I'm going to leave a little bit of the background noise in, at least in part of it. I'm going to tone it down, but the expo hall is very loud. But you put that headset on, and it obviously blocks out your vision. And at first you're like, oh, this isn't that immersive. But then when they put those ear cups on for the headphones, it was impressive. It just droned out the convention noise. You're just taken completely out of normal reality, and I guess that's the whole point of virtual reality. But I was impressed at how isolated you were. For those few minutes I was playing this demo, the outside world wasn't really there, and a couple of times I ran into the little wall next to it. So what I'll do is I'll kind of just do a little bit of a sort of a play-by-play with some of the stuff that I did. I saw people do this 2 or 3 in front of me, so I kind of had an idea of what to do. So what I really wanted to do, being very analytical and kind of experimental, the first thing I think I really did, I haven't actually watched this since the video was taken a few weeks ago, but I just kind of experimented just to check to see how accurate it was. Again, this is an HTC Vive, and it was very accurate. You'll see here, I'm just kind of feeling it out and seeing the precision. And I was just impressed. I just started kind of grabbing a couple objects, tinkering around. It's impressive. This is the first real consumer VR. I didn't expect it to be this accurate or this good. I was just kind of checking the orientation, because you've got this thing that's registering to your device, and you're kind of rotating it around and just seeing how it orients, especially right here. Grab the boombox and just tried rotating it. And I just remembered that this really stuck with me, because I was just trying to just see how it felt, and it felt very responsive, no delay. It was very impressive. It was like I was moving something in I shouldn't say my hand, but in my weird club-like hand. It was just a really cool experience. Now, I don't know, I don't want to say go buy a VR headset right now, but I would definitely say you should go and try it. Soon, later this year, it's going to be at Best Buy for the PlayStation VR. There's going to be a bunch of other ones like the Oculus Rift and HTC Vive are shipping either now or soon. It's really neat. Now, as far as gaming-wise, I don't know if it's going to be there. I will say it's going to get big. I was thoroughly impressed with this, even not necessarily for gaming, but I'm not going to say this year or even next year. In the next few years, this is going to be a big game changer. If you watch anime and you've seen Sword Art Online, people get just immersed in this digital world. Or with the book I still haven't read, but Ready Player One, where people just focus in on this fake world. I mean, I can fall into the internet for hours or whatever I'm doing sometimes, and that's not even that immersive, and there's people that get horribly addicted. With something like this, people are going to literally lose their lives, or I shouldn't say, people are going to lose their social lives. They're just going to fade away into this fake world, and just, it's really crazy. I was very impressed. Once the graphics get better and they really make these immersive environments, it's going to be nuts. The one thing I just have to say with this whole thing is I was just kind of blown away. It's really cool, and I'd almost be tempted to buy the $100 Samsung Gear VR. I don't know if I'd actually do that, but it's a really neat thing. And this video was just kind of something to kind of share my experience I had at PAX, because it was really cool. There's no other way to describe it. Just go and check it out whenever you get the chance, or if you're lucky enough to have a friend that has one of these things, try it out. It's really cool. And maybe if you've got a lot of disposable income, you might just want to buy one. Again, you need a medium high-end to high-end PC to play this, but it's really friggin' cool. Right now I'll do a quick roundup of all the mainstream headsets just to kind of show you what's out there and give you some of the price differences. So the first thing is the Samsung Gear VR, and this is, I'm going to call VR Lite. It's really just something, it's a glorified Google Cardboard, but it's a plastic box you put your Samsung phone into, and it's like a kind of toned down VR experience. This isn't going to be as good as the Oculus Rift, the HTC Vive, or even the PlayStation VR, but it's a kind of entry level something you can kind of dip your toes into, especially if you don't have a high-end computer. That is $100, and they are currently on the market. You can go and buy one freely. Now the next one that's cost-wise is the PlayStation VR, and this is going to be $400. $400. Really, what they mean is 500. 400 gets you just the Gear VR. You need to have the PlayStation Move controller, which not one person in the entire world owns. So really, the bundle costs $500. All these prices are in US dollars. I always forget that because there's actually some people in other countries that watch these videos, which is really cool. So again, US dollars. So 400, but really $500. That comes out in October of this year. Now, the next one up is the Oculus Rift, which is $600, and that's sort of out. You pretty much can't get one. They weren't even shipping pre-orders. They were actually taking pre-orders and sending them to store to do demos and things like that. So it's absolutely ridiculous. I imagine by the second half of this year, they'll have enough inventory for the Oculus. And that's $600, and that's one of the upper tier headsets. I'm not going to get into the HTC Vive versus Oculus discussion here. That's kind of a pissing contest at this point, but that's one of your two premium options. And then the final one, which is what I experienced, was the HTC Vive, and that's going to be $800, and it's supposed to come out this June. And for fun, I'll even mention the Google Cardboard, which is $15, and that is shown here, quite literally a piece of cardboard with two of the crazy plastic lenses, so you can very ghettoly stick your phone into. Now, the plus thing about the cardboard is it allows a lot more mobile devices than the very restrictive Samsung Gear VR. So that's out there if you just want to see what this is all about. I mean, you could spend $15 and you're obviously not going to use it a lot, but you can try it out and see like, whoa, this is pretty cool. So to quickly run through price, ignoring release dates, in US dollars, you've got the Google Cardboard at $15, the Samsung Gear VR at $100, the PlayStation VR that's $500 in reality, the Oculus Rift at $600, and then the Vive at $800. So that's not a small. That's no small chunk of change, but this is going to be neat. I'm personally not going to run out and buy one right now. I'm going to be carefully monitoring this, and in the next year or two, I'll probably be buying one. The real question I need to make sure they hammer out, or I hammer out, is if it's going to make me sick. Because when I had my growth spurt in high school, I started getting motion sickness. So if this makes me start projectile vomiting, that's gonna be a problem and not really be very fun. But yeah, the one other really important thing for me is with these glasses, and again, I have heavy astigmatism. I could fit it on my head. They were actually, the Vive at least was designed to fit over my glasses comfortably. It had some adjustments you see me tinkering with at the beginning, and it worked. It worked pretty well. The only con is, again, because I'm so freaking farsighted, my not depth of field. I did have a little bit of tunnel vision thing going on, but again, that's intrinsic to just how my eyes work. So I can't fault the headset for that. But I was able to clearly see the details. The fact that it was only a few inches away from your face wasn't a problem. It was all in all just a really cool experience, and that was one of the highlights of my PAX East 2016 trip. If you haven't ever been to a PAX event or heard about it, it's a primarily, I shouldn't say primarily, I would say primarily video gaming convention, but they also have things like tabletop, board games, what else is there? There's tons of panels, there's just anything having to do with gaming, it's there. There's console tourneys, PC tourneys, a huge expo hall. I mainly go for the expo hall. There's some really good concerts. And then I go just to kind of try out some old things and play in the Steel Battalion tournaments and stuff like that. I'm going to be making a video. I haven't yet. I'll put an anchor for some sort of video link up here. And then once I actually make the video, I'll drop into this video and, I don't know, put it in the comments to let you guys know that it's up. But PAX is a lot of fun. You should definitely go. I had a blast. That's the only convention I've ever gone to, and I've gone for like 3 or 4 years, and I have a good time every time. So I'm wondering, what are you looking most forward to in VR? And it doesn't have to be a game. You're looking forward just to, you know, have an immersive experience in a different country, or just to be shooting dudes on Mars or whatever. I'm really eager to see where this goes. I think it's going to be really neat. The other really neat thing, and this is kind of a divergent technology, would be the HoloLens by Microsoft, which is an augmented reality versus a virtual reality. And that's more like a HUD. And what I do a lot of troubleshooting work, disassembly, direction of repairs and things like that at work. But what I have this vision is, and they've already done prototyping with the Google Glass, is to have manuals that aren't in books. The manuals are programmed into your little Google Glass or headset or whatever it is, and you will be able to, like, you know, look at something. Like if I was going to look at, my lack of planning showed I had to find something to disassemble. So if I was going to look at my headphones right here, I'd need to figure out what to do. But when you have an augmented reality, rather than reading a work instruction that would say, take out these 6 screws, it would say, take out these 6 screws, and then it would have little circles, little highlights in your own vision, in real life, or I'll say half real life, showing you what to do. So if you think of an application like a mechanic working on your car, if you could get one of these at your house, it would be so much easier to do this stuff. You know, you can read through all these manuals and try to find all these instructions. Whenever I do car work, it's just such a pain in the butt because I don't do it a lot. While I am mechanically inclined, I don't know how everything goes together. And it's not like it's something that's intuitive, I don't know, over half the time. But especially when you get to complex things, like if you think about somebody working on like a tank or an airplane, where you've got these incredibly complex devices, you can think of the technician who's going to be taking this stuff apart, just looking at this and be like, oh, I take this out, I take out this module, then it gives me this next step. It gives me these cautions. It says, make sure you disinfect this or clean this or use this grease. It's going to be crazy. The next couple decades are going to be really cool. And we're all going to be probably walking around with something like Google Glass or some sort of, I guess, weird alternate future Blade Runner thing. Maybe there's contacts with HUDs built into them. It's going to be cool. But for right now, this is what we got. I'm rambling, so check out VR. If you haven't seen me before, I'm Compulsion84, and I do video game, gadget, and gun-related videos. I kind of lump technology in general into the gadgets. Let me know what you think of this video in the comments, or drop a like, dislike, subscribe if you enjoy it, and yeah. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.